everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd show you an update on this carrier and try to explain some of the changes that took place since the last video. So last video I was kind of doing some block work out in this general area over here, and I started building this frame up at a 45-degree angle, and then my intent was to stick like some big thruster pod under there. And that was the whole reason why I wanted to bring the frame up, for kind of the stance sake of it. So in practice, well, first there was a comment saying it would look better at a 22.5-degree angle. I looked at it again right after that, and I was like, yeah, it certainly would. So that I changed that angle, and then I started trying to pop in, like, build some kind of thruster unit in that section. And what happened is it didn't really fit very good. These thrusters are really big, and there's a lot of them I wanted to put in. And then it also didn't solve the problem that I had of where was I going to put reverse thrusters. Now I was trying to avoid putting them here, and that was, obviously if I couldn't find another place, I could fit some thrusters there, but I wanted to find another solution if I could. And so I just kind of randomly dumped a thruster that would clear the hole over here for reverse. And then I was like, well, if I did that, I probably ought to line up the rest of the thrusters on that same plane. It'll look a little bit more uniform and probably overall better. So then I did that. I ended up with this whole thing here, and then I had to attach that and kind of mount it into the ship. It's not done quite right yet. I got some things that are off, like these seam lines here aren't really jiving with the bottom seam lines and things like that. But then again, it is Skaar, and it's, I kind of want that chaos in the build too. So I ended up going that route, and then I popped in a new angle in the back that is 22.5 degrees, and I did kind of want that swooping or that sloping angle kind of coming up on the rear part of the ship. But another part of this too is I took and copied and pasted the entire rear landing gear structure, and I moved it out a few blocks actually. So now you can see the front landing gear are way over here, and the rear landing gear are kind of quite a few blocks wider on its stance, which I thought was pretty cool actually. I kind of like that idea of it. But that also made the ship a little bit bigger yet again. But I'm kind of really excited because the inside here is going to have a lot of neat, useful room. And the fact, another thing that I like too is I was able to stick a whole lot of these big XL thrusters in a very tight location generally in the ship, except for the extra set that are in the front here for lift only. But the rest of them are all in this general location, which will make for a nice looking engineering area and keep all those hot parts together. Plus, this is between these two blocks here is 15 blocks, and that's the width of the hangar door or the force field. But look at all the open room over on this side now, on the sides of the hangar, which I really appreciate actually, because that's going to be really nice for setting up, crafting, production. It's just side landing pads. Well, you name it, or even potentially a way to get up to the flight deck. Although, I mean, it's a lot of blocks to the flight deck, so, man, it would take some room. But maybe it can be done nicely with some of those fancy, larger size ramps. I'll have to experiment with that. So another question I did want to address too is there going to be a vanilla version of this ship? Now I'm obviously I'm building this one for Reforge Eden, and it's I wanted to utilize the newer kinds of elevators or play with those, and a lot of other parts. Plus, it's going to have room for shield parts and fusion reactor and a lot of stuff like that. So it's got to be kind of locked into Reforge Eden, and not to mention I also kind of wanted to utilize 640K storage base. That's another thing that Reforge Eden does that vanilla doesn't. However, with all that being said, I think what my game plan is to, I know I hate to do it, but I think I'm going to have to just release a separate vanilla version of this. Now I'm going to build the Reforge Eden version first, and then release it, and then I think after that I'm going to have to do a lot of modifications all over the place on the ship. Maybe change the way parts of the interior are set up, reutilize rooms that might have been meant to hold large shield parts or things like that, and do something else with them. and make sure it doesn't have anything more than 320K storage space in it as well. So that is my goal. This might have to be a dual release. There's just no way I can make one size fits all and be happy with it. It'll be too restrictive on the Reforged Eden build, and it's all for the sake to keep it compatible with vanilla. But I'd rather have each version optimized for what it's for, but again, I'm not a big fan of releasing more than one version of the same creation. But in this case, I think there'll be probably a good 10 hours of work converting this one from Reforged Eden to vanilla after the fact, because there'll be a lot of changes throughout the ship and storage, and even rooms that were utilized for different things in different cases, and I just think it would be a better idea. So yes, I do plan on putting out a vanilla version of this, and it's going to have to be different than the Reforged Eden version, and probably, like I said, probably a lot of modifications between it. But I'm going to try to just focus on this one, being this one's Reforged Eden. I'm going to take advantage of every option that's in Reforged Eden when I build this, including those new elevators and things like that too. So. Now, I don't have a lot of time this morning. I kind of wanted to start building this. I got to kind of redo this whole section here and come up with a whole new building structure on the side here, and it's not going to have this kind of smooth approach. Now, when I first did that, I was kind of thinking modern warship kind of looks, but since then I was like, yeah, this is going to be Skaar again. So that's not the right approach for a Skaar ship. So that's going to look a lot different than what it does now. And I'm going to try to make the flight deck just interesting. But I wanted to get this whole bottom side done. Now, one last comment too. It says basically it's kind of smooth right now, and it doesn't really look too Skaar-like because you got these big smooth areas and stuff like that. And it's like, well, yeah, I can see that point. When I get into texturing this kind of ship, things will start to look a little bit different. Here and there, might add in some random, little, welded beams or something that just stick out from somewhere, or a little cage, or who knows. If I remember correctly, when I was building the Skaar Raider, which was the original, or the first Skaar ship, it started out smoother, and then as I was working on it, I started just chopping it up a lot more, and just trying to come up with that look. So more of what you see going on here will be done on there. But also, since I built this ship, I also realized that I do like to see big smooth areas, even if the ship's going to be choppy and rusty and everything like that. I like that breakup of having a big area that's just a big shape, kind of like this chunk over here, and there's other chunks like that on the ship, and then other chunks that have just a lot of busy work going on. That combination of both, I think, is what I like the best. If you have it too smooth, then it's just too smooth. If you have it too choppy, then it's just too choppy. And I'm just trying to find a balance between the two of them, which I think actually ends up looking the best. So that's kind of where I'm at with this and the ship, and I just kind of wanted to show you a preview here. Now, I am planning on doing the look at the workshop tomorrow, but today's going to be a pretty busy day for me, so I don't know how much more build time I'm going to get on the ship today, but it's coming along. Once I wrap up around the back side of it and then figure out what's going on the other side and get this control tower thing set up, and then figure out if I'm going to attempt to do any kinds of modules on here, and if I did, they would be over in this section, and that there is some room. They could go in relatively close to the hangar. They could be fairly big. They'd probably have to be taller, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that yet or not. It could be convenient. So it's the thoughts definitely in mind, and maybe I'll try to plan something out on this side for modules. At least 2 or 3. There'd be a different size module. They would not be Helios modules. They're way too big to possibly try to get in there. Obviously, look how big the Helios is and how deep those modules are. Those Helios modules are quite large, and that is the problem. I like the fact that they're big and you can get a lot in them. But they are very big and they're very hard to fit on a ship that isn't gigantic. And this ship is pretty big and it would still be hard to fit on them. Helios modules in there. But anyway, that's all I've got for today, and let me know your thoughts. One last little interesting spec here, as in just taking a look at it compared length size-wise to the Persis CV3, which is a little bit smaller than the CV2, but this one's 82 meters wide, 160 meters long, and 30 meters tall. And this one I think is pretty close to its final dimensions, at least. So 102 meters wide, so quite a bit bigger there. 230 meters long and 44 meters tall. It might be actually a little bit taller in the end. It depends if this control tower goes up beyond that point or not. But it is quite a bit larger than the Persis. I'd probably say it's going to have close to double the room inside it versus the Persis, due to the fact that it's longer, wider, and taller. Anyway, that's it for me today. You all have yourself a great day. I'll talk to you later.